A server may provide a task to a device of a user which is communicatively coupled to a server. A sensor coupled to or compromised in the device of the user may sense your body activity of the user. Body activity data may be generated based on the sensed body activity of the user. The cryptocurrency system communicatively coupled to the device of the user may verify if the body activity data satisfies one or more conditions set by the cryptocurrency system and award cryptocurrency to the user whose body activity data is verified. In other words, in the coming cashless society, if you want to get paid your digital crypto slave wages, you'll have to do whatever task you're told to do, and this device will spy on your body to make sure you've actually done it. But how will this sensor hooked up to the user's device possibly know what your physical body has or hasn't done? If you've been paying attention at all to this film, you've already figured this out. It will communicate directly with the nanosmart dust chips that have already been inserted into your brain and body through the deep nasal Covades test swab. It is of no coincidence that Bill Gates and Microsoft hold this patent, as back in 2016, before stepping down from Microsoft to distance himself from this, Bill Gates, Microsoft, and Gavi teamed up to create the ID 2020 project, which is headed by Kim Gagne, a strategic communications advisor with experience in the worlds of government relations, diplomacy, and law, who served as an executive director of the European Cloud Alliance, a business coalition focused on policy issues related to cloud computing. As Dr. Day said, Kim Gagne comes from Microsoft corporate senior policy and management positions in Europe, the Middle East, Africa, and Asia, and was a Foreign Service officer with the U.S. Department of State, or as Benito Mussolini said, fascism is the merger of corporate and government power. ID 2020's goal is based on the United Nations member states' adopted Agenda 21 and Agenda 2030 Sustainable Development Goals, including their commitment to provide legal digital identity for all people on Earth, including birth registration by 2030. One of their 4 core requirements of the digital ID looks remarkably like the Covades virus and is a biological microchipping system so persistent it lives with you from life to death, meaning if you took that swab up the nose, it's for life. In ID 2020's Emerging Technologies section, we find that new technologies, including blockchain, when used in conjunction with long-proven technologies such as biometrics, now make it possible for all people to have access to a safe, verifiable, and persistent form of identity. This is all, of course, doublespeak rhetoric, meaning the governments will now have digital surveillance access to all human beings that are nanochipped like livestock for the new surveillance capital industry, the behavioral futures markets being set up by billionaires and corporations, as well as the behavioral surplus industry and human biometric energy transfer technology for crypto data mining, powered by those people ignorant enough to take the test swab, vaccine injection, and luciferase hydrogel tattoo for their vaccine passport. Imagine this scenario. The government all-seeing AI tells you to go to a specific location and dig a ditch all day, and you will get paid whatever non-negotiable amount of digital cryptocurrency credits that they choose into your account. If you don't do it because you don't want to be a ditch digger, the nanosmart dust sensors inside of your body, broadcasting your every location, movement, and biometrics back to the government AI through the wireless 5G sensor interfaces, will give you away. Your social credit score will be lowered to restrict all allowed activities and travel possibilities, and you will receive no digital currency credit in your account as punishment for failing to complete the task you were dictated. As Klaus Schwab put it, you will own nothing and you'll be happy about it. As George Orwell put it, if you want a vision of the future, imagine a boot stomping on a human face forever. Aside from all of that good family fun, a 2018 article in Science Daily stated new research by scientists shows that when cellular barriers are exposed to metal nanoparticles, cellular messengers are released that may cause damage to the DNA of developing brain cells, meaning brain damage, during their interactions with cell membranes and the internalization into cells, altering key signaling pathways and processes. Which brings us to Part 2, the mRNA vaccine, anaphylaxis, and AIDS.
Rocco, let's make sure we're clear on something. Let's stipulate that this is not a vaccine.
Right.
I mean, we need to be really clear. We're using the term vaccine to sneak this thing under public health exemptions. This is not a vaccine. This is a mRNA packaged in a fat envelope that is delivered to a cell. It is a medical device designed to stimulate the human cell into becoming a pathogen creator. It is not a vaccine. Vaccines actually are a legally defined term, and they're a legally defined term under public health law. They're a legally defined term under CDC and FDA standards, and a vaccine specifically has to stimulate both an immunity within the person receiving it, but it also has to disrupt transmission. And that is not what this is. They have been abundantly clear in saying that the mRNA strand that is going into the cell is not to stop transmission. It is a treatment. But if it was discussed as a treatment, it would not get the sympathetic ear of public health authorities, because then people would say, well, what other treatments are there? The use of the term vaccine is unconscionable for both the legal definition term of it, but also because it actually is the sucker punch to open and free discourse. Because by saying vaccine, you dump it into a thing where you could be anti or pro the therapy. But if you actually talked about it as a therapy, remember, and people forget this, Moderna was started as a chemotherapy company for cancer, not a vaccine manufacturer for SARS. If we said we're going to give people prophylactic chemotherapy for the cancer they don't have, you'd be laughed out of a room because it's a stupid idea. That's exactly what this is. This is a mechanical device in the form of a very small packet of technology that is being inserted into the human system to activate the cell to become a pathogen manufacturing site. And I refuse to stipulate in any conversations that this is in fact a vaccine issue. The only reason why the term is being used is to abuse the 1905 Jacobson case that has been misrepresented since it was written. And if we were honest with this, we would actually call it what it is. It is a chemical pathogen device that is actually meant to unleash a chemical pathogen production action within a cell. It is a medical device, not a drug, because it meets the CDRH definition of a device. It is not a living system. It is not a biologic system. It is a physical technology. It happens to just come in the size of a molecular package. So we need to be really clear on making sure we don't fall for their game, because their game